So hi there. Following on from my last video around team dynamics and leadership, I was contacted by a few people because I discussed in terms of how we need to build trust in our teams and in our relationships with each other in a work context. So just to maybe develop on that a little bit today, it brought to mind a model that Kingston College would have brought to my attention back in the day when I was doing my postgraduate coaching qualifications. And it's called the 3C model of trust. And that stands for character, it stands for capability, and it stands for communication. So each of these has a key impact on trust. So if we're to look at the first one in terms of character, so kind of questions there is, in terms of the management of boundaries and expectations, how are you doing that with your team? Are you doing a good job there or not? In terms of authenticity, so being an authentic leader, and again, that's something I'm going to come back to in a future video as well to discuss that in a little bit more detail. Also, in terms of your levels of emotional intelligence and how you develop levels of emotional intelligence within your team as well. You need to look at areas in terms of your delegation. So how do you delegate to people? Are you trusting people? Are you giving them the opportunity to develop and grow and take responsibility in their roles? How are you empowering your team? Are you consistent in terms of your character? Do people get to know you? Do they get to know your style? All of this really develops trust as well. Fairness is a classic value as well that comes into it. So are you fair? Are you consistently fair? And are you seen to be fair? Do you keep your agreements? And in terms of your vocabulary, when you're normally talking, are you talking about we as a team? Are you talking about I as a person? So we need to be talking as a we in terms of the team perspective. So part two of that then is around capability. So are you aware of the skills and capabilities and ability within your team? And are you using it to the best of people's abilities? Are you developing people in terms of their skill set and in terms of their knowledge base? And how are you utilizing and making sure we're all playing to our strengths? How much autonomy are you giving people in your team? Are you giving them the responsibility? Are you trusting them to go and use these skills and abilities and their talents to do their job? And what are what are the lessons and that we're learning from that? Are we including people in decision making? Are we including people in conversations? Are we looking for feedback from people? These are all absolutely essential. So this is all about building the team capability and asking ourselves, do we have this growth mindset and do we have an outlook where we're constantly looking to move the team forward and develop the team? And the final part really around capability is in relation to the sharing of your knowledge and your experience, and also giving people on your team the opportunity for them to share their knowledge and their experience as well. And the third C stands for communication. And as we know, communication is so key in everything, but particularly when you're trying to build trust. So how are you in terms of your information sharing? Are you sharing it clearly? Are you sharing it consistently for people who need to know this information? Are we being honest and clear in our communications? Are we also being honest that we're human, that we're not perfect, that we don't know it all, and that we're having communication around that and ensuring that, again, we're playing to people's strengths, people's abilities, and having them as part of an engaged and a productive team. How are we in terms of recognition? Do we recognize people when they're doing a good job? Are we being specific about it? Are we bringing it to people's attention on a one-to-one basis and capturing it also in terms of there is some sort of a recognition reward system? And in terms of feedback, are we having grown-up conversations that need to happen? So again, it's important we have those conversations because it's a great growth opportunity for everybody. How are we in terms of confidentiality? Do people feel they can come to us and speak in confidence and that'll be honored, and do they feel that then that there is trust between the parties having the conversation? And ultimately, I guess, do we act with good intent at all times? And do we have the best will and intention towards the people that are working with us, our peers, our team members, and are we doing that consistently? And finally, in terms of the language we're using, is it positive? Is it constructive? And are we looking to, bring the best out of the people on our team to ensure that they're growing, they're developing, they're evolving, and reaching their full potential? So as you can see, it's a quite a big subject, and this is just a very high level overview of it. But it is certainly something that I'll be coming back to elements of this in future videos as well. So I hope that helps.